Okay, we got to talk about the game we just witnessed against Chelsea where we lost 4-3 after being in the lead 3-2 with only 4 minutes left, and then we just gave it away. The manager was asking the team to hold on to the ball, keep the ball. We could not keep the ball for more than 6 or 7 passes. Literally, go ahead and use the entire team, take it all the way back to the goalkeeper and pass it around. We couldn't do that. We couldn't do that. We couldn't have a possession more than 20 seconds with the ball when we're in the lead in extra time. This is how bad the quality of players are. This is how bad, Bruno Fernandes is supposed to be one of the one of the most skillful players on the team. And even he couldn't contribute to holding on to the ball. Even he was asking for passes or making passes that are just uncalled for in that situation. It's like the man is programmed to only see overhead passes and through balls. It's, no. We just need to hold on to the ball, man. You don't need to run for a through ball or send one. Just get in a nice shape and pass it around. Keep the ball. It's not that hard. It's high school kids can do that. And we couldn't do it. So that tells you a lot about this team. This goes beyond the manager. And if you need to sack the manager to make yourself feel better or to claim that we're going to start all over, then any ocean, go ahead and do that. That's fine. Just make sure you're bringing a manager who's won something. I don't want to see Potter. I don't want to see Southgate. I want to see someone who's won something come in. Ten Hag has won stuff. Potter hasn't won anything. Neither has Southgate. So bring in someone who's won something and tell me we're going to start all over. That's fine. But every single one of these players needs to have competition in their position. Every single one of these players needs to be able to be dropped. Bruno Fernandes is undroppable. I'm not saying, by the way, that this is all his fault. I'm making an example of one player that we all deem undroppable because he is by far the most undroppable player on this team. Maybe Onana is the only other undroppable player. I would have said Rashford, but he dropped Rashford today. So obviously Bruno Fernandes is the most undroppable player because we don't have someone else who's probably going to find those passes. And please don't say Eriksen because Eriksen doesn't have the legs. Bruno can run for the whole 90 minutes. And I do like Bruno, but it's also unfair to him for us all to sit back and judge him when he can't ever take a break. He has to play all 90 minutes every single game, every single week. He'll play all 90 minutes against Liverpool in 2 days, 3 days. So it's not entirely his fault. It's okay for him to be mentally exhausted and physically exhausted. So when he makes a bad decision, you can't just go, oh, that's Bruno being Bruno. Give the man a break, and he'll probably come back with a fresh mind and a fresh body and not make those kind of mistakes. So this is Ineos's task. Their task is going to be to bring in players that challenge every single position so that we have 2 that can play at any given time. And players like, man, I hate to say this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Players like McTominay, who can't, his worst attribute is touch and pass. So when you're called to hold on to the ball, he's probably not the right person to have on the field, in the middle of the field. And then Rashford, before we conceded 2 goals, Marcus came on fresh legs and he would not run. I don't think he broke a sweat. I don't think Marcus broke a sweat, and that's a problem. That's a problem. I mean, you go back and watch the last 15 minutes of that game, and you'll notice he just jogs back and forth, jogging, trotting, and then every once in a while he'll run. It's not enough. It's not enough. I would work harder. You would work harder. He's just not putting in a solid shift. And I think if he sat out 2 or 3 games entirely, he might think otherwise and run every second of the game. Work hard every second of the game. Look, there were a couple times where he did put a shift in, and I get it. Like, I'm not saying he was completely useless. I'm not saying that about any player, including McTominay. They all have their uses, but it's not a good team. It's not a good team. The pieces of the puzzle don't always fit the situation. this is why we need to talk about what are we going to do in the summer? Like, what is going to happen here? What are they seeing? Where do they want to go? How much money do we have? Can we bring in 6 players? Because we do need 6 players. I've said it in my last video. We need 6 players, probably 7, because we need 2 center backs guaranteed. We might need 3, but we need 2 guaranteed. But other than those 2 center backs, we need another 4 players. It's heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. And I feel for you guys, because I know, just like me, you either had your hopes up and you thought maybe, well, to be honest with you, I didn't. I could feel, I could sense. I didn't think we would lose, but I could sense that we were going to make a mistake when we couldn't keep the ball for more than 10 to 16 seconds against a Chelsea team that's not even good at winning the ball back. It's not like they have Conte on the team anymore. When we couldn't keep the ball for 10 to 16 or 18 seconds, I knew we were going to concede. I didn't think we'd concede 2, but I knew we were going to concede. We're not that solid in the back. You guys know that we get a lot of shots against us, so I knew they were going to get some more shots, and I just felt like we were going to concede. I wasn't really comfortable. I wasn't comfortable with 2 minutes left. And it's bad luck. I mean, it's really bad luck that Delo clipped Mudieki, whatever his name is, shoe, and fell on him. That's bad luck. I don't know how much I can blame Diego for that. But I can blame the entire team for just not being good enough. This Chelsea team is really bad, and we made them have a chance. Like, that game should be killed off. As open as that game was, a good team, Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, they would have killed the game off if it was ever that open. It won't be that open against those teams because Chelsea will bunker in and not want to get embarrassed. But against us, they let it be open because we don't really score or take our chances that well anyway. So that game was so open, and we're not good. We're not good, period. We're not good. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's the manager's problem. I don't care if Pep Guardiola was managing this team. These players aren't scoring. So what is Pep going to do? Going to go out there and score for them? No. We're not good. And we need reinforcements, a lot of them. I know maybe we say that, like, okay, it's going to be a 2 or 3 year rebuild process. And I agree. It might even be a little bit longer than that. But in this very first summer, we have to bring in 6 players, as I've been saying. We have to bring in 6 players. And that means we have to sell 3. I don't think we're going to have a problem selling Mason Greenwood. I even think that if we're willing to, we'll be able to move on Jadon Sancho. So there's a strong possibility we'll be able to sell 3 players. We just need to, maybe Lindelof or somebody else. What's that kid's name that's out on loan? Pellistri. Maybe we'll sell Pellistri. We need to sell 3 players, bring in 6. Minimum 3 players that we're going to sell, but we're letting go of 2, right? And then we got Casemiro that we might be able to sell. And we're letting go of 2 with Varane, and I don't think Johnny Evans is coming back. So we should be able to get rid of 5 to 6 players and bring in 6. I don't want to see 5. I want to see 6. And I think if you watch my last episode, you'll know which positions I'm talking about. The whole back 4, a midfielder, a backup striker. And now I'm thinking even a backup for Bruno, unless we're going to groom Amad Diallo to play that position. He'll play it a lot differently, I think. I don't think he'll be looking for that through ball every single time he touches the ball. It's seriously annoying. I don't think he'll look for it every single time he touches the ball, but I think Amad Diallo can play the number 10 or that Bruno role of attacking midfielder if we groom him to. I don't think he's ready right now. He just needs more reps at it, and he needs to be given a shot. Maybe, unless we're just going to bring one in. What do you guys think? What did you guys see? I mean, what I saw was Manu had a bad game, but Manu's allowed to have a bad game. The kid shouldn't be playing this many minutes anyways. He really shouldn't be playing this much, this often. Garnacho started off like he was having a bad game, and then he took his chances really well, so you can't really say anything. Antony was a player of the game for me. He was the man of the match for me. It wasn't Garnacho. Garnacho made some mistakes, but Antony gave you heart back and forth. He ran. I wish Rashford would run 60% of what Antony runs. I wish. Rashford would be world class, if he worked 60 or 70% as hard as Antony works. But who knows? Maybe Rashford's carrying a knock that I don't know about, and that's why he can't run. Because if he runs too hard, too often, his back spasms or something. I don't know. But if that's the case, then we need to not have him be playing so many minutes. It is annoying and it is frustrating, and I can only imagine what David Brailsford, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and what they are thinking about or trying to come to grips with, and what they're planning. I wish I knew. But I'm also happy that there isn't that many leaks. Look, Manchester United is always going to be in the news. Manchester United is always going to be talked about on X, or formerly known as Twitter, and I still like calling them Twitter. And you're always going to hear something like this Michael Olise stuff we were hearing. I hope that was fake. I really do. I don't want to spend a single pound on a winger this summer. Of course, we'd all love better wingers. We'd all love flashier players, but we don't actually have a lack of wing play in our squad. You might want Michael Olise instead of Antony. I get that. But Antony's not completely useless, right? We have Antony. He can play off the right wing. He does put in a shift. He works hard. We don't have center backs. Like, we literally, with Martinez injured and Varane gone after this season, we don't have center backs. So I don't want to spend money, a single pound, on a right winger until we get a whole new back four, because we don't have a left back. We don't have one. It's not like, oh, I wish we had a better winger. That's a future problem. We have current problems we need to take care of. That's a future problem when we think about wingers. We need the 6 players, and those 6 players need to be those. Actually, and if we were to buy a 7th player, it still wouldn't be a winger. It'd be an attacking midfielder. Oh, but anyways, we're always going to be in the news. We're always going to be talked about. There's always going to be rumors that we're looking at this player or that player. But the truth is, I think that we're very, very, now with the Ineos people in charge, we're very tight-lipped. Like, we don't actually, I don't think the sources are giving, I don't think the leaks, let me put it this way, I don't think the leaks are coming as often as they used to come. And I also don't think the leaks are coming from strong enough sources anymore. Like, I don't believe the Michael Olise thing. It just doesn't make sense to me. It makes zero sense to me at all. Even though a lot of people say, like, oh, we're really interested in Michael Olise. Yeah, but I'm sure we're interested in a lot of players. I just don't think they would spend money on that deal. And if they do, I'm going to be super disappointed. If they do spend money on Michael Olise, then I guess we're signing 7 players if you're going to do this right. Because if you're spending money on Michael Olise and then we only sign 4 other players, that means we've got 2 positions that need to be filled that didn't get filled. So it makes zero sense to be looking at Olise until we fill our needs first. And talking about the manager also doesn't really make much sense to me, but I actually do want to, it does make a little sense. I understand saying, oh, hey, we're going to rebuild the whole thing, so we're getting rid of Ten Hag. He's not our man, and we're going to bring in our own man. But I'm saying that man better be a winner. That man better not be Potter. That man better not be Southgate. That man better be someone who's got experience winning, or else it doesn't make any sense. What are you doing? Rebuild the squad first. Fix the car, then pick the race car driver. Because the one you have might be good. You just don't know. I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. I don't want to hear it. Anyone who wants to argue that and go, oh, he did this, and why did he substitute this? We don't know. We don't know. Fix the car. Make sure the car can actually run a good race. And then if the driver still crashes into the wall, bring in a new driver. This makes zero sense. I'm super upset about today's game. I wish we were better, but we're not. We have, what do we have? Like 10 more games left? No, 8 more. Yeah, 10 total if we make it to the cup final. So we got 8 more in the league, 2, semifinal and final to play. So 10 more games left. I honestly don't know how it's going to go, and it's going to be a frustrating end of the year. I'm sure I'm going to get frustrated a couple more times before the season's over. I'm sure we're not going to win every freaking game we play. Let's hope that this summer is a good one. I'll see you soon.